Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about the future of Global and a couple of things that we are still waiting to find out some information about, right? So we just recently got the update about the quest mode, where we're going to be getting the Bardock awakening into a TUR. We got information about the Part 2 LR Gohan and Piccolo, as well as the Prime Battle LR Super Saiyan Goku Super Extreme Z Awakening. That was all stuff that we got information about yesterday. Should be out in the game soon. I'm recording this on the same day that that information came out, so I guess there is a slim possibility that when this video goes up, which will be on the Friday, the stuff has come out, but I feel like it's a slim possibility, like I say, because they normally announce this stuff in the news and on Twitter 48 hours before. So I don't know if that means the quest mode stages are coming out on Saturday. Does that mean the Part 2 LR banner is coming out on Saturday as well? I don't know. I assume we'll get a data download tomorrow. But either way, we're looking slightly ahead of the Vegeta celebration to stuff that we are going to see in the future. And that is, of course, the LR Carnival Jiren, as well as the STR Dokkan Fest Master Roshi. Now, the reason why this is obviously a topic for global discussion is the fact that we are now officially synced with JP. I mean, it's already underway, right? We don't have to say anymore like the sync is coming. Like, the games are synced now, right? Vegeta came out on both versions at the same time. The Easy A's, like for Janemba, well, I mean, that was technically Janemba and Gojira, I guess, was still part of the worldwide, but the games are synced now. So like the Bardock Awakening and everything, that will come out on both versions at the same time. The Vegeta came out, the Piccolo and Gohan LR will come out at the same time. So the games are synced now, but of course, for global, we are still missing these couple of units, as well as the Peppy Gals characters from the random Peppy Gals banner. I think that comes out around the same time as, I think, was it included in Roshi's celebration? So we do know from the producer letter that came out a little bit before the sync stuff got underway and we moved into the worldwide, that all of the stuff that global is missing that is out on JP will come out before the end of the year. So that means by the time we get to the end of December, all of this stuff will be out on global. So the interesting thing is going to be to think about, when is this stuff actually going to come to global? Because we know that since we're getting everything at the same time as JP now, that means there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to come out, or will be coming out, I should say, like at the same time. So we're going to definitely be facing a situation similar to the lead up to the worldwide after the anniversary, where we had a bunch of banners just back to back to back. And of course, if we think back to global, when Rose Goku Black came out, his sort of mini celebration, because he didn't really come out with a huge amount, right? It was his banner, an Easy A, I think was it the Kefla Easy A, and a couple of other bits and pieces. And then, of course, when his celebration came out on JP, there was a lot more content. But he was basically sandwiched in between two things that we already knew that we were going to get. And this is going to be a similar kind of boat. Because if we take a look over at the Twitter here, what's going to be the best view size? This one? Yeah, so the producer letter, let me mute this. Where do they bring up the timeline? I thought I had it paused on the right screenshot already, but there we go. So we saw this from the producer letter, to go from the beginning of October until the 10th anniversary, essentially. So the change of the summon format, which you've already seen with the release of Vegeta, with the new green pity coins for Dokkan Fests. The Greatest Warrior, which is the update to the tutorial, where we're going to get a whole basically free-to-play Z-Fighters team. Character details, icon in battle. This is stuff like in-game UI stuff. And then, of course, you can see there Quest Dokkan Story and Bardock Dokkan Awakening. So, of course, that has been announced today already. Then when we go into November, in development for the 10th anniversary, new skill added, character details 2, etc. A lot of info right there, etc. And then in November, we also have the Super Dragon Ball Heroes crossover campaign. Then we have, I guess, towards the end of November, because it goes between the November and December boxes, Quest Dokkan Story update again with the Frieza Dokkan Awakening. And then you can see confirmed for December to January slot, there is a Divine Dragon Carnival. So what we can do is essentially look back to the previous year's like schedule and essentially try and piece together what we're going to be seeing and where these things can fit in, because we're in October now. Obviously we're still in what, the second week of October. So last year, although the numbers, like the exact date was slightly different, but last year, first week of October, we had the release of the INT Tournament of Power Androids. And of course, this year, with first week of October, we had the release of the Dirty Fireworks Vegeta. So we've got the Easy A's, Quest Mode update, all this kind of stuff. Like we've had the Super Easy A for Full Power Frieza, the Nail and Goku Sub Easy A's. And that leads us up to, I guess technically we're slightly ahead of last year, because the first major EZA, we got some free-to-play EZAs for the androids on the same day, but the major EZA of their celebration was the STR Jiren. That's actually crazy to think that his EZA was a year ago. He was terrible, like even on release, but that's kind of funny. But yeah, we're still, if this is coming out on the Friday, we're still a day away from the 12th, and we've already had some EZAs, and we're now already getting news about the Part 2 LR and everything. So last year, the Part 2 LR didn't come out until the 19th of October, but that's still 8 days away from today, right? The day the video goes up, because again, this is being recorded on the 10th, but going out on the 11th. So that means that we're already ahead by quite a bit. So maybe this is the reason why, right? They're trying to shuffle up to make some space. Although, of course, that will have a knock-on effect for JP, because if they're shuffling up the schedule a little bit to make space to drop this extra stuff on Global, then that just means that's going to be a dead period on JP, because they already have that stuff. So that's something to bear in mind. And then the 20th of October, we had a World Tournament with some World Tournament Awakenings. And then we had free-to-play character come out. And then the next Dokkan Fest came out at the very end of October. So with the details being posted on Twitter so early, it means the Part 2 LR potentially comes out within the next few days. So considering that by the start of next week, Monday is going to be the 14th. If the LR is out by then, that puts us almost a full week ahead of last year. And then realistically, like apart from, you know, there was some random free-to-play, I guess this is for the October for like Halloween stuff. That will be fitted in too near the end of the month, but there's no other content really. We haven't had a World Tournament for a while, which I know some people will count as a blessing, but there's definitely an opportunity for a World Tournament to be slotted in here. But we could see the Part 2 LR come out anywhere between like the 14th, the 16th, the 19th, anywhere between this period, and then have Roshi or Jiren drop in that like final week or around the 20th, leading up to then another Dokkan Fest at the end of October. So we got the Gohan and Piccolo at the end of October, and then moved into November. We had the rest of their celebration. We had an EZA. They, of course, did not have a Part 2 LR, because then we go into the Heroes celebration, normally mid towards the end of November. So this was on the 22nd that it all dropped last year. And then, of course, we go up to the very end of November. I mean, this is crazy, because this is, what, 8 days later. We had the Heroes stuff drop, and then we had the surprise, both versions at the same time, AGL Android 21 Dokkan Fest drop, which was certainly unexpected. But of course now, you know, any Dokkan Fest that is coming out is going to be on both versions at the same time. So if we get a Dokkan Fest at the very end of October again, or it could even be the 1st of November, depending on what the dates are. Let me just look at the calendar here. So the end of October, the 31st, is a Thursday. The first Monday of November is the 4th. So it could be somewhere around there. We're going to get another Dokkan Fest. Most likely, obviously, not with a Part 2 LR. This is the JP timeline we're looking at, of course, because now that everything's synced, we're going by the JP timeline. Of course, for Global, they fit in the Tanabata stuff here, which, of course, for this year would have been Tech UI Goku, who we already have. So it's very possible that Global obviously tried to fit in the Tanabata celebration in this segment. Global could fit in the Jiren or Roshi, whichever one hasn't come out yet, if they fit one in the previous month. Because if the Dokkan Fest comes out on like the final days of October or the very first day of November, and then Heroes comes out on the 22nd, that's basically 3 weeks from the start of the month. So we could easily see that new Dokkan Fest drop at the end of October, beginning of November, and then a week or 2 weeks later, we get Jiren or Roshi, and then literally a week or so after they drop, we then get the Heroes celebration. So that's something to bear in mind as well. After the Heroes celebration, we get an end of November / beginning of December Dokkan Fest. And then as we moved into the rest of December, we had the release of, on the 14th, the LR Super Saiyan Trio, who are a Carnival LR. And if we can remember from the timeline, from the producer letter, we know that at the end of December, we are getting a Divine Dragon Carnival, which is essentially what this was. So we'll be getting another Carnival LR releasing in December. Now, there is a possibility, and I do think in terms of like stone saving for global and not having so much stuff all coming out at the same time, there is a possibility that they just decide to put Jiren on this banner that comes out in December, and he's just on that banner for both versions, right? So it'll be the first time that he returns for JP, and it'll be his initial release on global, whilst there's also another LR on the banner as well. And honestly, I do think that is probably the best way for it to go, at least for global, because for JP, nothing is different, right? That's kind of how it would have been already anyway with his first return. But for global, it means that you have the opportunity to summon for the brand new Carnival LR that's coming out, that hopefully will be good. You know, the LR Super Saiyan Trio were very good on their initial release. And then Jiren is also on the banner, who's also a brand new character. So that would work out quite nicely for global. Otherwise, as you can see, we have like the last couple of weeks of December, there was a World Tournament, some Easy A's, and then of course we go into what we always refer to as the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest, even though it comes out a couple of days before New Year's. So of course this will assumingly still be a thing going forward, and of course will be on both versions at the same time. So there's not a lot of room in December, because if we're getting a Dokkan Fest end of November / beginning of December, the part 2 then Carnival LR is 2 weeks, and then basically 2 weeks from there is the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest. So there isn't really a lot of space in December to fit anything else in. So as I say, the best case scenario for global is that Jiren is just featured on this Divine Dragon Carnival banner, and it's his first appearance for global. Whereas if we go back to November, we have this little bit of space between the 22nd and like the beginning of the month where a new Dokkan Fest comes out. I think this is probably a good spot for fitting in one of these missing units. And JP, I guess, is just going to be a little bit on the quiet side. And then for October, I mean, October feels like we're shoring up a little bit of a gap here by having the part 2 stuff come out a little bit early. And then there's basically no other content apart from the free-to-play stuff for Halloween, and then the Dokkan Fest coming out at the end of the month. Because if the next Dokkan Fest isn't until the last day of October, we're still talking like 3 weeks from now, basically. And if the part 2 LR is going to come out very soon, like in the next few days, that means that 3-week period could easily be filled out with one of these other units. So in terms of answering the actual grand overall question of the video, when will Roshi and Jiren release on global, I think there are a couple of strong possibilities. These final week or 2 of October, or we have the first couple of weeks of November between the Dokkan Fest coming out end of October, beginning of November, and then Heroes. Or, of course, for Jiren, we have the possibility that he is featured on the Divine Dragon Carnival that comes out mid-December. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously, it's not just the units themselves, it's the fact that they come out with a bunch of content, right? Like Jiren's release should bring the last couple of stages for the Universe Survival Saga Blue Zone, which of course brings global the Goku and Frieza fight, which is currently one of the hardest fights on JP, and we don't have it on global. And of course, I think it was part of Roshi's celebration, or at least tied in with his celebration, the release of the Peppy Gals Red Zone, which of course has the Bulma fight, which a lot of people consider to be one of the hardest fights on JP as well. So it's not just the units, right? Like for me personally, I mean, I'll summon as a content creator to make videos, but I'm not particularly interested in Jiren or Roshi. But for me, the content that they bring with their celebrations is something I'm looking forward to, right? Having these new harder events on global to actually try out the new units in and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Where do you think they will fit these units in? What are you most looking forward to, the units or various parts of the content from their celebrations? Let me know all of that down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.